Dimitri, I'm gonna jump in. Just got information now from Bloomberg. According to Bloomberg, the UAE, which is where I'm based now, and Bahrain, I think it is, the UAE and Qatar, they'll run out of missile interceptors. The UAE in 1 week at the current pace, if Iran continues the current pace of strikes, and Qatar within 4 days. Both countries are urgently requesting military support from the US.
Well, this was
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was foreshadowed even by leaks from the Pentagon to the press immediately before the assault began. The high-ranking officials were warning publicly through anonymous sources that the interceptor stocks of the United States were dangerously low. Iran, I think, has learned to cause them to expend at a rapid pace their existing stocks with lower quality weapons and drones. And there was a report, I haven't been able to verify it, that a Saudi official speaking to Qatari media was complaining that the U.S. military had effectively abandoned them, and that it had reallocated air defense systems and assets to Israel in priority to the air.
Not going to be good for U.S. relations with those allies. After the Qatar strike and now this, if the U.S. sends interceptors to Israel instead of the Gulf countries, that will be catastrophic for American trust in the region. It's already getting a massive hit. Those countries depend on the U.S. for stability, for security, not for the U.S. to become the source of instability. Iran is striking those countries because they house U.S. bases and U.S. military personnel and aircraft. So being allied to the U.S. right now and hosting American bases, at least for now, it seems more of a liability for those countries rather than a strategic advantage. And that could have long-term repercussions for the U.S.
Yeah, well, I commented on X the other day that Qatar has the dubious distinction of having been bombed by both Israel and Iran since Trump came to the White House in January of last year. And one would have thought that at least that the patronage of the United States would at least protect you from one of those outcomes, if not both of them. But instead, they see themselves getting battered from both sides. On the other hand, Mario, forgive my cynicism, but I believe that the leaders of these regimes are primarily interested in their own wealth and power. And as upset as they may be, as aggrieved as they may be, will they ultimately risk it all by expelling U.S. military forces from their country and potentially risk their own lives? I'm skeptical that they will, but there's no doubt, I think, any rational observer would see that they have lost, as you said, a great deal of trust in the United States government.
Look, I'm going to read out here someone's opinion, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. The attack that we've seen right now, instead of getting people revolting on the streets, we're seeing people rally around the flag. I was seeing footage earlier. Lisa, if you can find it on my profile, the team posted it not long ago, actually a few minutes ago, of people rallying in support of the regime in Iran. Lisa, put that up. Number two is the attack made Iran more stubborn rather than more likely to negotiate. Well, we saw the report yesterday of Iran refusing a ceasefire that Trump offered through Italy, reportedly. Number three, the person that's going to replace Khamenei is more likely to be a more radical supreme leader than Khamenei. This is people rallying around the flag rather than people rallying to overthrow the regime. And number four, the attack provoked a response that was unexpectedly large. Trump was surprised by the response. He said that earlier. Everything's not going in America's favor right now. It's just not looking good at all based on what we're seeing. And I just don't, that could be a good thing because we might see Trump seek an exit from this, an off-ramp as soon as possible. So that could be a positive thing. But I would love to get your thoughts on it because it doesn't look too good. And I agree with that opinion.
Yes, I would also add to your litany of things that have gone wrong that the price of oil has spiked. It was, I think, $82 a barrel. It's now, I think it's 79, but it's gone up something like 20% since January of last year. And imagine if they do actually begin to target each other's oil and gas facilities. That would be truly catastrophic for the global economy, but we're not there yet.
They've already started, but they struck Saudi Aramco in Qatar, I think it was, or Bahrain. Sorry, Saudi Aramco in Saudi, and they've struck the LNG plants in Qatar as well. So they're already striking energy infrastructure, Gulf energy infrastructure. They could do more damage, especially if the Houthis get involved. But they've crossed that line.
Well, the Saudi Aramco refinery, first of all, Iran, for what it's worth, denies having targeted it. And secondly, the Saudis said, the Saudis said that, in fact, what happened was that an incoming missile was intercepted and the debris struck the refinery. So even the Saudis, the last time I checked, were not alleging that they had been targeted. About these gas facilities, Mario, I'm not sure about that, but I was in Qatar in 2024. It's a very small place, and there's a military presence, in the port of Qatar. There's the biggest U.S. military bases in Qatar, Al Udeid. So that, whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. But in general, certainly Iran could have done far more damage to the oil facilities of the Gulf Arab states if it wanted to. In that regard, it has shown restraint. But to go back to your question, this is unfolding, in a disastrous way for the Trump regime, and I really don't know how he's going to work himself out of this corner into which he's boxed himself, because he has staked his prestige and the prestige of the United States military on a successful outcome. You asked me earlier, why they might insert ground troops. They might insert ground troops in order to conduct some kind of a flashy military operation, which allows Trump to claim some kind of fabulous military success. I don't know. But at this stage, I think all bets are off as to where this is heading and whether Trump is going to have the wherewithal and the restraint to extract himself from this situation. He's not, as I think any rational observer would acknowledge, he's not prone to humility, not the kind of person who apologizes, acknowledges his mistakes. So this all adds up to an extraordinarily dangerous situation for the region and the world.
For me, I'm just still trying to understand the significance. I'm not sure if that's my mic playing up, but the significance of the UAE and Qatar running out of missile interceptors. Because if Iran's strategy of targeting those countries, which I thought was a pretty big gamble, because those countries could either turn on Iran, because they've been, at least in public, they've been critical of American intervention. Reportedly, they're the ones that convinced Trump not to strike in January. Not sure how true that is. Probably less so Saudi, but more likely the other countries. But the gamble that Iran is playing is either those countries will struggle to intercept the missiles and then pressure Trump to end the war, or those countries will turn on Iran.